What's up everyone, Kokomojo here. I'm doing this pod review of a 15 halls run I did on my sub-rogue. I'm trying to learn the class, and one of the best ways for me to learn at least is to do reviews of my own gameplay and look for mistakes, so I figure I would share this one with you, in case you're also interested in learning sub-rogue. I had to fix my macro there. I have this macro that will just apply tricks to the tank, just so I don't have to deal with targeting anything, but requires having their name in there, and got to do it before the key started. So getting into my tornado dance symbols window, make a mistake in not applying flag to something before getting into that combo. So just looking to kick, and alright, so here I'm looking at the Houndmaster and expecting them to cast Loyal Beast. So I'm basically just waiting. Get the kidney shot to stop that. Making a mistake in tunneling on that Houndmaster and not pressing Dance and Symbols. Letting Dance sit with 2 charges and Symbols is off cooldown already. So I pressed it, but it took a few seconds, and that's some value lost. So we have a bit of a break pull here. I've got some cooldowns. I set up flag, get into... I make the same mistake as before, and I don't press flag until after I press Shuriken Tornado. This is actually a huge mistake, because you basically just have 4 globals within Shuriken Tornado to be doing finishers, and I did not make the most of that. Also, looks like we had a Loyal Beast go off, and I'm not soothing the bears. One of the bears got soothed by the hunter, and okay, there. I got the other one. This pull is actually crazy. Wanted to stop that curse. We have 1 curse to spell, so I'm going to try to prioritize stopping curses if I can. So while this pull's getting cleaned up, I want to talk about my weakauras a little bit. I've tried to set up my weakauras to highlight when I should be pressing an ability. So it's basically going to be playing sound cues whenever I get to Shadow Dance Charge Cap, and it plays that robot beep when... Oh, okay, it's for this combo actually. I did the right thing, and I put flag on the shard before going into Shuriken Tornado. I probably should be pressing Eviscerate here and funneling into the shard, but I'm definitely padding. Getting into the single target rotation now. And our tank pulled these groundskeepers, and this is actually great. Now I can be an ethical DPS. I Shuriken Tornado and then just start bombing Eviscerates into Shard. It's gonna help down that Shard really quickly. Alright, so now we have some travel time. I'll talk about my weakauras. I've got them set up to highlight when it's like safe to press one of the cooldowns. So that mostly matters for Shadow Dance. You want to make sure you always have a Shadow Dance for Symbols of Death. And sometimes you'll have a Shadow Dance charge available, but Symbols won't be ready, or it'll be ready too soon for you to be able to press Shadow Dance and then have it back again for your next Symbols. So I've tried to account for the cooldown reduction as well, and kind of highlighting the abilities when there's like enough time for me to get enough globals in during Shadow Dance to reset the cooldown. This was a spicy pull. I think I made a lot of mistakes here. I actually want to rewatch this real quick and see I haven't pressed kick yet. I think I kicked that obliterator and stunned him, which was a huge mistake. I should be saving 1 stop for each cast. I should have kicked that curse as well. I kicked a bolt, which I guess is value because our tank was in really rough shape and our healer's doing a great job here. That was an unfortunate dead loop thrust that I think killed 2 players. Yeah, so basically I just didn't do a very good job of stopping cast. I overlapped 2 stops. I also didn't use cheap shot in my Shadow Dance. That was another kind of big mistake. Should be refresh. Okay, so I refresh Slice and Dice. Okay, so I let symbols sit on cooldown, or off cooldown for a little while. Not too long though. So you just heard that shotgun sound. That's the sound cue I have for my Agipod. I'm pretty new to playing DPS, and so thinking of pots as like another DPS cooldown is something that so you can see I just have this huge Agipot weak aura right next to all my other weak auras, and thinking of that as like a DPS ability is worthwhile. Honestly, I should be pressing it here. It's going to be value killing this shard, and then also just like dealing with these Houndmasters. Oh, so I blinded the Houndmaster there to stop the rapid fire. Maybe that was value. I was also in Shadow Dance. I could have used. Oh, I didn't have blind. So if I had used cheap shot in Shadow Dance to stop the rapid fire, then I would have had blind to stop the loyal beasts, and so that was a mistake. Luckily, we get soothes on these bears like instantly, and so our tank's able to continue to tank them pretty safely. But he does have a lot of stacks of the bleed, and our poor shaman is starting to run a little low on mana. All right, so looks like I do the right thing here. I press flag on the Houndmaster, get into the tornado, and then press all my cooldowns. I heard the sound cue for my Shadow Dance weak aura being capped on charges. So I press Shadow Dance. Same thing happens there, and I instantly press Dance again. Okay, so this spell is actually like pretty good for me. I think I did a pretty good job in this spell. Let's see what I spend my my kidney shot on here. I actually probably should have cheap shotted something as well while in the Shadow Dance. I guess there wasn't like a critical stop, and that is 1 global that you're spending in Shadow Dance that's not damage, and it's actually a pretty big damage loss. You have 8 globals you can spend in Shadow Dance, and you really want to spend every one of them on damage. This pull looks juicy, so I should be... Yep. Okay, so flag, then tornado, and then symbols and dance. And then I'm all AoE. Everything here has like the same HP, except the Crown's Keepers have much lower HP. So pressing black powder is actually totally fine in this situation. I want to be pressing Eviscerate in cases where there's one mob that has like much higher HP than the others. So think of the shards, of like the Goliaths in Spires of Ascension. These mobs have so much more HP than everything else around them. So you doing single target dam on them is actually going to do more to speed up your run than pressing black powder and just padding in AoE. I was kind of hoping for a big pull here. I kind of had a lot coming up, but we kind of just do all these guys. So I'm sitting on flag and Shadow Blades. And Shuriken Tornado. I probably should have pressed Shuriken Tornado here. I think saving flag and blades for the Shard is a reasonable choice. But I should have pressed Shuriken Tornado. Because it's going to be a lot more value in with that many targets than a 2-target pull like this. So here I'm just like pure single target on this guy. Watching my feet and dodging. So here you can see I've got one charge of my Shadow Dance, but my symbols wasn't up. So my weak aura is telling me basically don't press Shadow Dance. Then it got kind of low enough cooldown that it gave that dotted line outline. And that's signaling to me that I can press Shadow Dance here, and as long as I get all the globals in during the dance, then I'll reset the cooldown. So in that case, it's safe to press, and I'll have another dance charge available by the time Symbols is off cooldown. That's what that one's telling me. The other thing you see here is the Symbols. Weak aura has a dotted line sometimes. That means that flag is close enough that it's safe to delay Symbols. Basically, you're safe to delay pressing Symbols for up to 10 seconds if flag is coming off cooldown. I keep making the same mistake where I'm pressing Shuriken Tornado and then pressing flag. And let's see how many combo points I had actually when I did this. More time. Full combo point. So here I should press flag and then rupture if I'm going to rupture. But instead I press rupture and then dance and symbols and Shuriken Tornado and then flag. But one of my Shuriken Storms just went off and I have full combo points. So I'm losing a lot of value here. I think I missed 2 Shuriken Storms within that tornado worth of damage. I had 2 Shuriken Storms back to back there. Kind of got thrown off by pressing kick. That was another mistake. So here I'm on 2 Shadow Dance charges, but I know the boss is coming right up, so I'm actually just not going to press it at the end of that pull. I want to make sure that I have all my damage set up for this boss. These tyrannical bosses this week are actually like pretty hard. This character's not super undergeared, but he's also not super geared either. So here's where I'm going to be pressing flag, then eviscerate, and then we get into the combo. Now the idea here is 1 or 2 shadow strikes, and then an eviscerate. Also, I heard my DPS pot come off cooldown, and I just used it instantly. So that was pretty good. So here I'm cooling, I'm waiting. Looks like my symbols is off cooldown for a little while, but I wasn't exactly sure what our tank was going to do, and so I wasn't sure if it was going to be safe to move. Or rather, safe to stand still and do all my damage. So here I'm using Cloak and just running through the beam, so I'm not sure if it's safe to be here. So I should be pressing flag and then just getting into dance immediately. I delayed the dance. That was a mistake. I sat on 2 dance charges for, I don't know, 3 or 4 seconds there. And so that's lost value. I should be pressing dance immediately when it's available. So here, my plan should be refresh the rupture and then get into... Okay, nice. So I did that right. So I wanted to refresh the rupture because it was getting kind of low. and then get into Dance Symbols window with Shadow Blades. And the Rupture was not quite in its pandemic window, but it's better to refresh the Rupture early in that case if you're going to enter a dance window. So you really don't want to be refreshing Rupture in the dance. You want to be spending all of your combo points on Eviscerates while you have that double damage buff from Dance and Symbols. Alright, this boss is dead. So, I actually think I played that boss fairly well. The biggest mistake was sitting... I had 2 cases where I sat on cooldowns for around 4 seconds, maybe 5 seconds, and lost some value there. I actually think I make a lot of mistakes on this boss as well, thinking back on it. Part of the reason is I usually use the ads that spawn for funnel, but our warrior just destroys these ads. So here I'm sitting on cooldowns again. That was a huge mistake, actually. I should have just sent that. So here, yeah, this is where I press Shuriken Tornado. I'm hoping to get some funnel off of those ads, and our warrior just annihilates them instantly. And I guess that's a good thing, because we're able to kill them all with a leap, but I got no value out of those ads. If you look at the meter, I'm bottom fragging right now. It is not good. Okay, so I heard my weak aura beep, and I pretty much instantly pressed my combo. I kind of expected a dispel here, and I didn't press cloak, and so I end up using both Crimson Vial and a health potion to make sure I'm safe here. Same thing happens here that happened in the first ad wave. I press Shuriken Tornado expecting to get some value, and it just doesn't happen. I should cloak here because I'm in my cooldowns. But I get the dispel, and I get most of my damage out. I think I missed a global or 2 at the end of that dance window, which is kind of unfortunate. I pressed flag. This was a bit of a mistake. I saw flag off cooldown and ended up pressing flag and shadow dance together. But I didn't quite have enough time to get dance back before Symbols was off cooldown. Yeah, most of the globals into that dance too. I missed 1 global at the end. So here I should be planning to refresh all of my maintenance abilities, so let's get Slice and Dice back up. Good. I should be getting Rupture refreshed again. Should be okay. And now, nice. Dance, Symbols, and Shadow Blaze overlap. Now I'm in all my cooldowns. I definitely have to press Cloak here. Oh, I don't press Cloak. That was a huge mistake. I could have done a lot more damage if I pressed Cloak and avoid getting stunned by that curse, and then gotten a couple more globals in. So here we've got Flag, Symbols, and Dance all available. A Shuriken Tornado. I should have learned by now that I'm not going to get any value out of the Shuriken Tornado. I guess I should still be pressing it on single target, but... yeah, so one trick you can do here is using your Shadow Step to an ally to just always be able to dodge this jump. Yeah, I did no damage that fight. That was a very rough fight for me. I got no value from the ads. Our warrior and our hunter just annihilated the ads every time. I heard my BAM, which means I'm capped on Shadow Dance charges, and just press it insta. I ended up blinding the wrong Houndmaster. Maybe bad at the game. I heard my weakora beep, and I pressed symbols and danced together, and I think that was probably a mistake. I probably should have saved them. Didn't really have a lot going into that pull, and now I made a mistake by not having a lot coming into this pull either. I am a little surprised we were fighting in this room. This really throws me off. I haven't fought in this room since, like, doing normals at the beginning of Season 1. I think we're in pretty rough shape at this point. Our hunter has died twice to some mechanics. I'm not exactly sure what. I already spent 1 B-res on him. I had stunned the collector. I'm hoping to just kill this collector. Going back to B-res again. But, I don't know if that's worth. I should have just killed the collector, because now they're just channeling this collect sense. I guess we stopped it, but... So I want to tame as close to the boss room, I think, as possible. Just gonna maximize our uptime on the boss. Get flag, then rupture into a dance window. Okay, I almost missed refreshing my slice and dice. Here I swap to the Vi, and I just start hitting that Vi because it's the only thing that's in range. Should be refreshing my rupture. Okay, rupture's back up. Was maybe enough time. So rupture was like in pretty low duration, and I got into a dance window, so my rupture actually falls off, and I reapply a low combo point rupture just to get it started again. I think I'm like spending way too much time just like maintaining these spells. I should just be refreshing them early if that's what's needed. So here I should be sitting on my dance and symbols waiting for flag. So we get full combo points, we flag, finisher. I think I did 1 Shadow Strike at the start, and that was a mistake. I already had full combo points. I shouldn't be pressing Shadow Strike there. I should be flag, into finisher, into symbols and dance, and getting into my single target rotation. So we've got basically a full dance symbols window here, and I ended up getting full value out of it, so that was pretty good. Our Pally and our Shaman had kicks there. They were the only people that had kicks. Unfortunately, that's that. So I think I'm saving flag here, maybe for the next room. I'm gonna try to put it on something and funnel that thing. I normally put this on the mini boss in the next room, but I think we're gonna try. Okay, so I had missed that before. The tank had said maybe we just line this guy. And then I made the call to just do the front, thinking that we'll get in combat with these guys and then we'll be able to just do explosives here. But then our tank decides to run up here, and we've got a lot of explosives going on. This ends up being a full team wipe. It's pretty unfortunate. I'm just gonna skip ahead because basically we just come up here, get into Shroud, we all go by. Nice and easy. Rewind just a little bit. So basically we come into this room, we can just kill this, dismantle her. I'm missing globals in the stance window. Feeling very distracted by all the explosives and worried that we're gonna die to explosives again. So I can get a little bit of funnel off these guys, but not a lot. I'm saving Shadow Blades here. Oh, never mind. I do press it. If I save Shadow Blades, that's probably a mistake. I can get 2 more uses if I send it here. I'll also be able to use it at least once on the boss. I'm running the Stiletto Staccato Conduit, which gives me cooldown reduction on Shadow Blades whenever I get a Shadow Techniques proc. So it ends up being, I have really high uptime, really high melee uptime. It ends up being roughly a 1.5 minute cooldown, somewhere between 1.5 and 2 minutes. So I get almost double the uses out of Shadow Blades and a key. So this was a pretty good dance window, actually. I got pretty much full value. And I think at this point, I'm just hard swapping to the Vi and just doing hard prio on the Vi. This mob is so troll and is just so distracting, and the line that it puts on the ground that you have to dodge can like throw us off. It's actually a really frustrating mob to fight. So I should be, yep, okay. So I get into a dance symbols window. I lose 1 global though dodging the statue. I think if I dodge on the other side of the boss, I don't miss that global. Dodging statues with this many melee is actually really painful. It's broke. Kind of throws off your damage pretty bad. So getting in here to double soak. And basically my idea is I let a few ticks go off, and then I press cloak to immune it. And I let a couple ticks go off for a couple of reasons. The first is just to make sure that cloak lasts throughout the end of the ritual. The second is so I can actually see to make sure that I'm getting the double soak correctly, because the debuff doesn't appear on my unit frame when I have cloak up. So I want to make sure that I'm actually getting that double soak in. Right, so I end up using Eviscerate and then going into a dance window. I think that's fine. Get in real quick to reapply Rupture. And I don't really have damage here. I should reapply Rupture one more time. I had 2 charges of dance, and so I pressed that, but I should have, I think, waited for the core flag to come off cooldown. And I missed a global there, and that ended up being a huge problem for my flag. I got 22 stacks of flag. Single target, I should be getting 27 or 28 stacks of flag pretty much every time. Sometimes I'll get 30 if I am also in Shadow Blades. So I'll always have full combo point finishers and Shadow Blades. Easy in time for the boys. Let's go. Yeah, thanks for watching. Like I said, I'm still learning Sub Rogue, so this is mostly a critical review of my own gameplay. And I mostly talked about rotational mistakes here and a couple of CC mistakes as well. But yeah, if this kind of content interests you, please consider joining the Discord and hanging out with us there, and subscribing and liking the video. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions about Sub Rogue, and I'll do my best to answer them. I feel like I'm better at finding mistakes in my gameplay than I am at actually playing the class at this point. But yeah, I hope this was helpful for you. Take care and good luck out there.